The Great Western and the London and South Western Railways both operated a service from Plymouth to London. The two companies' routes actually met at Exeter Station. They both carried passengers off the transatlantic steamers arriving from New York. But Great Western controlled the signals at Exeter, and it was a known fact that their signalmen sometimes held up their competitors' trains deliberately. As the steamers approached the English Channel, a lighthouse off the Cornish coast would telegraph ahead to warn the railway that a boat was on its way. Down at the terminal, fires were lit in the waiting rooms, and everyone stood by to wait for the arrival of the passengers. Most passengers were wealthy New Yorkers, newly arrived in Britain. The boat train was known as the Yank Express and guaranteed to transport them to London as quickly as possible. There wasn't a published timetable for the train, but a speed table, which simply stated that it would take 4 hours and 20 minutes to travel the 218 miles to London. The London and South Western boat train left Devonport at about 11 o'clock on the night of Saturday the 30th of June, 1906. It was an express service. On the footplate were driver Robbins and fireman Gadd from Nine Elms Depot in London. They were due to arrive at about 3:20 on the Sunday morning. Meanwhile, the rival Great Western service had also set off on its own route, but the London and South Western was still ahead, approaching Salisbury station.
It had lost a little bit of time from Temple Combe and had been running about 4 minutes late, but it was running at possibly about 70 miles an hour, making up time. About a mile west of the station, the driver sounded the whistle and then continued to run at full speed towards the station. He hurtled through the station at probably 60, 70 miles an hour until the train reached the curve at the east end of the station.
The Yank Express had left the track completely, smashing headlong into a nearby milk train, slicing it in half. The sound of the crash woke the whole town. When day broke, the true extent of the damage could be seen. Driver Robbins, fireman Gadd, and 23 out of the 43 passengers on board, plus the guard of the milk train, had all been killed in the smash. The derailment at Salisbury shocked the nation. Crowds gathered at the site of the accident, and the Queen sent a message of condolence to the American ambassador. As an investigation began, experts agreed that Salisbury Station was notoriously hard for drivers to navigate. At the east end of the station, there was a sharp curve which had a speed limit of 30 miles an hour, but the boat train had been doing at least 70. As soon as news of the derailment spread, speculation began about the reason for this high speed. Much was made of the competition between the London and South Western and Great Western Railways. Their rivalry was well known.
There were various rumours going around that the train had been racing. About the time that the accident happened, the Great Western were actually going to open a shorter route to London. So there was a suggestion that maybe driver Robbins was trying in a piece of rivalry to beat the Great Western.
Surviving passengers told the investigation they'd been frightened by the speed. It was going so fast, they said, they couldn't keep their plates on the dining car tables. The investigation simply concluded that the smash was due to excessive speed on a curve. The incident became a national talking point. It also made a serious impression in the minds of rail passengers. But that wasn't quite the end of the story. After the investigation closed, another accusation was made. As well as blaming competing rail companies, it appeared that some of the passengers themselves had bribed the driver to get them to London in record time. Since the wreck of the Yank Express, all trains have been made to stop at Salisbury station. In addition, the speed limit on the deadly curve at the eastern end of the station was reduced to 15 miles an hour, a limit still in force today. At Salisbury, 3 factors led to disaster. Rival companies were competing on rival routes. The driver was determined to keep on schedule because his train was running 4 minutes late. And passengers seemed to have pressured him to reach their destination as fast as possible.